Hello everyone. Welcome back to the chair because we are taking a look at the Australia maps. I hope you had enough fun listening to my cousin, Mark. By the way, I might add, Mark is a fairly handsome guy. He's a very intelligent man, so I think you really like Mark. But anyway, I told Mark, I would go ahead and do the map and get you guys acclimated to the continent/country of Australia. Oh, the shirt, by the way, I'm sure you're wondering about the shirt. Mark gave me the shirt. He said, hey, keep it. Being the cricket player that he is, he had other ones, so there's kind of a souvenir that he gave me. So hope you guys enjoyed that vocabulary video. So let's get to work on Australia. All right. So you know that you are going to get a blank map. But if you notice, this is what your map should look like. This is Australia. If you notice Australia, if you're asking, why is Australia broken into these sections? This is because, just like the United States is one country, and when you break it into sections, we say, oh, the United States is made up of 50 states. Well, Australia is made up of 6 states and 1 territory. And so you are going to label those states and territories. So that's going to be your first map. By the way, there are several other territories, like if you see this right here, this is a territory. This is where Canberra is located. Canberra is the capital of all of Australia. And there's a couple other smaller territories, but we're really mainly focusing in terms of territories on the Northern Territory. Okay, so that's the only territory we're really going to talk about. So again, this is Australia, made up of 6 states, including this wonderful island of Tasmania. So an island state right here, and yes, for those who know about the Tasmanian Devil in Warner Brothers, that is where the Tasmanian Devil comes from, but he does not, by the way. Even though that name Tasmanian Devil, there is an animal on the island of Tasmania called the Tasmanian Devil. It does not turn into a tornado and go through mountains and trees or anything like that. All right, so just keep that in mind. Now, if we flip this over, we do need to know the state capitals and the capital of all of Australia, okay? So Mr. McGee can keep this cam steady. So you notice, again, it's going to be the same thing. It's numbered the exact same way in the exact same order. And then you have your capitals right there. By the way, despite Mr. McGee attempting to put a star here and completely failing, that is Canberra. Canberra is the capital of all of Australia. You still need to find what is the capital of this state, which is New South Wales. You need to find the capital of that state. Don't get tricked by seeing this capital and going, oh, Canberra is the capital of New South Wales. It is not. You still need to find that capital. Now, if we turn over, these are the physical features that you need to put on your map. So if you notice, we'll go through these. Number 1, we've got the Great Barrier Reef. Over here, this is the largest reef in the world. You got the Coral Sea out here. The Pacific Ocean borders Australia to the east. You got the Indian Ocean. We don't talk about the Indian Ocean much in 6th grade because most of the countries we cover don't border the Indian Ocean. So Indian Ocean borders Australia to the south and also to the west. You've got the Great Dividing Range, one of the longest mountain ranges in the world. You also have 2 rivers that you're going to need to know, the Darling River and the Murray River. You notice the Murray River flows here, it empties out into the Indian Ocean. The Darling River starts around the Great Dividing Range, because remember, rivers start high and flow down to low areas. So the Darling's going to flow and then connect with the Murray, and there you go. So the Murray empties out into the Indian Ocean. You've got the Great Victorian Desert, and you also have the Great Sandy Desert. If you notice, Ayers Rock, the Aborigines call it Uluru, U-L-U-R-U, and notice the U's there, Uluru, but Ayers Rock is going to be right around this area as well. So those are the physical features that you're going to need to know. Now, as usual, if you go to Purpose Games, that is a great place to practice. And as usual, you will also get bonus points for finishing first, second, or third by the time that you take your map test, which is going to be on Tuesday. Also, if I remember correctly, I believe Mark left out that your vocabulary quiz is also this next Tuesday as well. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Now I want to show you one other thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the atlas. So the atlas is going to give us a lot more detail. So first thing, let's look at the political map of Australia. So you can see the states. There's Western Australia, Northern Territory, Queensland, South Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, and the island state of Tasmania. All right, so a couple things. If you just look, so let's do a little bird's eye view. Let's go up a little bit. I want you to look at the cities in Australia. Now, if I were to ask you a question, go, where are most of the cities in Australia located? Take your time, look at the map. Now, hopefully what you're saying is, you know what I noticed? Most of the cities are located along the coast. So look here, let's go down to Queensland. Look how most of the major cities and towns, down to New South Wales, now to Melbourne, now to Victoria. Notice that they're all along the coast, and look at the capitals. So, look, the capital of Brisbane, capital of Sydney. I mean, even Canberra, which is the capital of all of Australia, is not really that far from the coast. It's pretty much a go-between. Sorry, it's an in-between between Sydney and Melbourne, which are rivals. So it's easier to just make another capital and put it in the middle. Melbourne's on the coast. Adelaide, which is the capital of South Australia, is on the coast. If you go up to Northern Territory, Darwin's on the coast. Look at where all these cities are, all right? You got Derby going down this way all the way to Perth. Now, by the way, Perth is a really cool city. It's kind of like a hidden jewel of Australia because most people, when they go to Australia, go to the East Coast because this is where most of the cities are located. And you think about Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, those are very popular cities, well-known cities outside of Australia, but Perth is less well known. Yeah, Perth is this really awesome city in Western Australia. It's the capital of Western Australia, but most people don't know about it. So I always like to go, if I ever get a chance to go to Australia, Perth is where I'm going. All right, not to mention my favorite Aussie rules football team, the West Coast Eagles, play in Perth. Now, does that have anything to do with our lesson? Absolutely not. But nonetheless, go Perth. All right, so Perth is an awesome city. Sorry. Let's try that again. Perth is an awesome city, so hopefully, I hope to actually go there one day. But that's your hidden jewel of Australia that people don't talk about, Perth. All right. Now, let's get back to our actual lesson. Now, you notice most of the cities and towns are on the coast. There's a few cities inland, but most are along the coast. Now, remember, hopefully, if I've taught you nothing else, when you see a pattern, you need to think, and you need to ask yourself, why? Why is it with this huge country of Australia, because Australia is pretty large, why are all the cities on the coast? Oh, well, why is that? Because if we were to go inland, this is where the outback is. The outback is desert, and the outback is in the inland territories right here. So you got desert in this area, all right? You got desert here. But then also, remember, what's that mountain range that would go along the East Coast? If we go to the physical map, you've got the Great Dividing Range. All right? So when you had British colonists first landing in Botany Bay, and it's now Sydney, but in Botany Bay, it's a lot easier to colonize the coast than to go through the mountain range, and then also, when you get over here, you've got so much desert. That's why you have the Great Victorian Desert, the Gibson Desert, the Great Sandy Desert. All right, this is all outback. So this is why most people live along the coast in Australia. So again, this is population distribution. There's a reason. So always, when you notice a pattern like that, always ask yourself why. Always be willing to think. And so the outback is the reason for that. Not to mention, with everyone coming to the coast to begin with, you have the Great Dividing Range here. So it's easier to stay along the coast as well. Okay? So just keep that in mind. That is the big thing. Let's go over here just for a little look at the physical features. And I already showed you the deserts. So the deserts in this area and the Great Dividing Range. And here's the Great Barrier Reef. Hopefully, I may get a chance to link some videos of the Great Barrier Reef. So I may or may not have a chance to do that. But for sure, one thing I can tell you is this. I will make sure that I have copies of the blank maps on today's module. So that way you can actually either print them out or work on them if you want to. If you got the software, if you got the computer to do it, and you can just put stuff on the map or you can print it off, okay? But either way, you can still study and you still have purposegames.com. Remember, once you log into purposegames.com, type eMcGee into search, eMcGee, M-C-G-E-E, into search, and you'll be able to find my games on Australia. And I believe I have all 3 games: physical features, capitals, and states/territories. All right? So keep that in mind, and you should be good. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Make sure you do those maps. Make sure you start studying for the map test on Tuesday. All right? Well, take care, guys.